This is the White Tiger Knight, and this is the ATI Mosin Nagant Monte Carlo stock overview. For anybody who's interested in buying this, you really need to watch this and pay attention to some of the issues that you might have installing it. A lot of people have this, and these things are kind of hit or miss. So this is just kind of a buyer beware and an overview of the entire setup. As you can see it here, compared with the original 9130 stock. This is again the Mosin Nagant ATI Monte Carlo stock. So for anybody who's interested in buying it, just beware that there's probably some fitment issues, and you're probably gonna have to do some work on it. So let's get cracking. The first thing is length of pull. So as you can see here, the tangs are pretty much even, and the length of pull on these is not significantly more. The ATI is not a lot longer in the stock than the Mosin is. As you can see, if you put the butt pad on the Mosin, it'll even be longer. So you're not going to significantly increase your length of pull, as most people say. That's not actually really true, as you can see here. One of the next things is you really got to get a lot of material. This is just looking at the stock Mosin Nagant 9130. As you can see, there's a lot of room here for an interrupter. If you can see on the top there, that little kind of dome or half dome there cut into it helps the interrupter move, and the ATI stock doesn't necessarily have that. You can see a lot of cosmeting on here, which is really built up, but that piece right there is really important. That right there helps the interrupter move, and on the Mosin Nagant, on the ATI stock, it doesn't really have that cut out sufficiently. So this is the interrupter piece, if you can see it, right here, right within there, and that has to move when you push on it. When the rounds go to feed in there, and it keeps the second round in place, and then it will. You have to actually be able to move that little spring out of the way so that the next round can come in, and it's so tight that as you can see here, even the where the box magazine goes into the barrel to action, if you can look down there, there's a little bit of a kind of a gap there, and on the actual regular stock, the original stock, it fits a lot tighter. So you'll see here in a second when I compare it with the original one, where the box magazine fits the barrel to action, you have to take a little bit out on that screw there so it fits a lot tighter. And on this one, this is kind of the guts of it. You can see these screws kind of all the way bottomed out, and then I'll show you actually how the box magazine actually fits into the barrel to action here. And you can see that you're going to have to take a little bit of room out on the ATI, and I'll do that in a later video. I'll show all the room that I've taken out of it. But this is right now just looking at its stock and seeing how tight it really has to be in order for it to feed correctly. So you want to make sure that the screws are bottomed out and your box magazine is fitting tight enough, and you're going to have to remove some material on the ATI stock. At least I did, and most people really got to do this, and a lot of fitment issues, so just beware of that. Again, these are just the guts, kind of the regular, just how it fits together. And you'll see here in a second, basically exactly how this is going to fit in here. You can see that the magazine there comes a lot tighter into the barrel to action. On the rear, right here on the back of the magazine, how it's fitting in there, just note that. And as I move a little bit forward, you can see it as well as it goes in, near the chamber area there where the, I guess you could call it a feed lip or whatnot. There's a little bit of, it's a lot tighter than it was when it was inside of the actual ATI stock. So I'm going to have to take some material to make that fit as tight as it is right here. As you can see, kind of a little feed lip as the round comes through in there. So, that's really important. And if it doesn't work, then you're going to have a lot of issues. So, and again, this is inside the actual stock, the ATI stock. You can see that the rear is a little bit, I think, okay, but I think it still looks larger of a gap between, again, the box magazine there. And that's the interrupter. So the interrupter piece really needs to move, and that little spring there really needs to have some space, and there's not enough space cut in it in the ATI stock. So this is just the regular original Mosin Nagant stock, and I'm just going to go through and see. You can see how the actual barrel action meets with the box magazine in the rear. So the gap is pretty tight and a lot tighter than on the ATI stock. You can really kind of see it there. It fits a lot flusher. And then here again on the front where kind of the feed lip is, it's a lot tighter as well. So if you really want to sacrifice, you really have to make sure it fits right, because you don't want to sacrifice reliability with this ATI stock. And my ATI stock wouldn't even feed So again, this is just a comparison. You can see it's a lot different. And honestly, the rear tang looks a lot even better seated on the original versus the ATI. There's just missing material up there, which doesn't make the rear tang screw fit as tightly, I think. And then again here, that's a lot of the material where you need to take out for the interrupter. As you can see on the original one, there's a lot of material near the back and the front, and where the interrupter moves. And on the ATI stock, it's just not there. And I'll do another video showing how much I got to take off of this. I've already taken some off, as you can see here a little bit, but you have to take a whole lot of material off in here to get the interrupter to move properly so it feeds rounds. Otherwise, you'll have a one-shot gun, and it's just it's retarded. So just a warning, and beware, and know that you're going to have to work on this a lot. You're going to have a lot of fiberglass shavings, all kinds of polymer polymer/glass shavings everywhere. You have to grind the shit out of that, and it took forever. So and another thing is, that little raised cheek well right here has some major really tight mold cracks on it. You have to really sand that down some. And then on the front here, it's a little bit warped. It's kind of a little bit warped to the left on these plastic moldings or polymer moldings or whatever. It gets a little bit warped, and this one's a little bit warped to the left, and that can cause differential, barrel pressures and such. So I tried to grind it down and free float it as best as I could, but even then people have had problems with it heating up and actually warping even more, and it's not really providing that, then it starts moving and pushing on the barrel, in different spots. So say if it warps to the left, it'll be pushing on the barrel to the right, and it causes problems with the harmonics, barrel harmonics in the rifle. As you can see here, a little bit, you can see a little bit more gap on the left side, or the top side I guess here, where the stock actually kind of warps a little bit to the left. The polymer molding, they have problems with the warp issues. This isn't really that bad. It's not as bad as most, I think, but you can definitely see it. And as you can see here as well, it's kind of I guess pseudo free floated, you could say, when I ground out a lot of material. As you can see here from the front, you can see it's kind of a rough finishing even on the edge of where the stock is, but I ground out a lot of material here to kind of pseudo free float the barrel. And I think it works effectively, but when it heats up, people have said that it can move around on you, kind of warp down. And as you can see here, it's not completely even on both sides, so it is kind of warping a little bit, and it's not completely set in there evenly, I guess you could say. So the fitment is not really perfect. So again, beware about that. Now again, this is just kind of an overview, looking at it, completely put in here. I think it looks slick. It definitely makes it a lot sleeker. It seems a lot smaller when you put this on there. It seems a lot more manageable in your hand, and moving around. It doesn't feel as big and clunky. I think it's really effective for that much. I think it lightens it up. But just beware of the fitment issues and make sure that it doesn't, affect your reliability or accuracy or any of the other really good things that make movements great. So again, this is just another look at it. It's I think it looks slick. I think it's effective. I think it kind of transforms it, kind of sporterizes it a little bit. But honestly, with all the issues that you're having with it, I wouldn't want to sacrifice reliability. I might as well just stay with the original, in my opinion. Peace out. I want to make another video on this, but this is just for anyone that's made it till the end here. I think I'm having some issues with my extractor. It's overly bent or something. It's not really feeding the rounds in there properly, even after I fix the interrupter. It's still, that works and it feeds the rounds appropriately there, but it won't shut on the round. That has a problem. The extractor has a problem overtaking the rim of the cartridge, and I'm not sure if anybody has experience in this. I know a lot of people recommend, polishing down some of these surfaces so that the actual round will go in there easily, and the bolt and the extractor can overtake the rim and the breech face and everything else, and it'll just fit smoothly and help the action really be a lot more buttery smooth. This one I have to kind of slam the bolt handle down so I can get the extractor to overtake the rim of the 54R cartridge. And a lot of people have had issues, tearing up the rims of them and scratching it up and having rough surfaces, and also has to turn on that. I realize that's not exactly how it goes in, but I'm just showing you how tight it is, getting over that. And I think the extractor is overly kind of pushed in and not overly bent it looks. I mean, obviously you can see the surfaces here are pretty rough, and I could probably definitely polish those out, and it might help a little bit. But I just want this for anybody who has experience with these bolts to know if you ever had these issues, really hard closing in on the round, it won't overtake the rim, the extractor, and I think it's mainly the extractor issue, and kind of just the whole bolt face is kind of really rusted or kind of rough and ragged right there. And I want to kind of take a little bit of material, but I want to take so much off, and I definitely don't want to mess it up. So and it looks here as though it's overly bent in. It looks overly bent and pretty tight, so it's not allowing that spring, I kind of guess little spring metal there, to actually overtake the extractor successfully. And it's really hard coming in and closing on the round to actually close the bolt on the live round and breach that rim. The extractor just really hangs up on it, and I verified that's the reason. It's just everything else works perfectly, it just won't overtake that rim when the extractor hits it inside the chamber. So anybody who has experience with that would be great. Looking at it here, you can see that it is kind of bent in a bit more than I think it probably should be. Again, this is my first Mosin, so anybody that has any experience with this would be great. I want to make another shorter video and send it out to some people that are experienced with these, and see if this bolt face or bolt head here and extractor look awkward. I think it really does. So if anyone can help out with that, that would be great. Peace out.